against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. It's time to get into formation. We gotta get ready for the battle. So call on your brothers and sisters. We gotta turn back to the scriptures. Stop making it all about you. Them preachers, they got it confused. Come out of her. Cause Yahuwah is our deliverer. Don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed, cause nobody's perfect. We're called by his name. We're called by his name. Seek him to be worthy. We should be coming together. There's power in unity. It's time to come into the order, cause we are a living prophecy. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. Lace up them boots. We gotta move step mode, put on camouflage. We gotta be wise. Open your eyes to the most high in the skies. We must stop arguing, it's irrelevant. We must live in the Torah, it's heaven sent. He will put it in your heart, fulfilling the word of the new covenant. Don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed, cause nobody's perfect. We're called by his name. We're called by his name. Seek him to be worthy. We should be coming together. There's power in unity. It's time to come into the order, cause we are a living prophecy. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. It's Michael Israel, and you are watching Spiritual Combat. And as you can see by the title of the show, we're going to be talking about relationships. And we're going to be going in pretty deep. I've been getting questions. And, what that lets me know is it's time for me to hit this topic because I haven't hit it in a while. So I know it's time for me to hit this hot and heavy because I've been getting a lot of questions related to relationships and relationship issues. And one of the things I find with a lot of situations I see going on with people in their relationships is that a lot of times these relationships end, and there's a lot that could be done to salvage them, to make them go run good and get them back on track. And a lot of times that there were other options, but we're not made aware of the options that are out there to breathe new life in relationships. And we don't, the biggest thing is we don't understand the principles that make a relationship work. The pillars that a marriage and relationship are built on. And it's nothing to be, upset about. It's just that our enemies have taken crafty counsel to ensure that not be so. You know what I'm saying? So what we're going to do is reestablish, these principles so that people can understand at the most foundational level what that relationship needs to be built on, and how it needs to operate. Okay, so let me turn this down. Okay, so it's good to see y'all coming in there. I see people still coming in. I need to. I'm gonna try to get more consistent coming on at 6 p.m. But yeah, shalom to Julie, or Jewel O. Shalom to Charles. Shalom to Chana. Shalom to Byron. Shalom to Yeremi Israel. Okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to get, and while I'm teaching, because this is going to be a multi-part series. I think what I'm going to try to do with this part right here is just really kind of paint the framework, and then I'm going to zoom in on specific areas in the coming parts of this series. But what we're talking about here is, the mindset, the understanding from a biblical perspective of what makes a relationship work. And the stuff I'm going to bring out here isn't just fluffy good talk. The stuff I'm going to say here works. And when I say works, just give it a couple months. No, you see immediate results. Why? Because it's the truth. It's truth. And like I said, we're going to back it up biblically. That's what I'm over here doing right now, pulling up the verses, getting things ready to go. But the first thing, what you see in all the relationships is one of the main things that cause the relationship dysfunction is people aren't grounded. People don't know who they are. People, they don't understand their roles. And that is by design. There's an agenda to make sure they flip the roles upside down. And, you see it everywhere. You see it in the media, among family, among, in other relationships, friends, everywhere you look. There's almost nowhere you can go to find or to see a success, an accurate or a true model of what the man's role is in a relationship and what the woman's role is in a relationship. And almost everywhere you look, it's an unhealthy, upside down, lopsided, model designed to, to destroy your relationship, whether in the long term or in the short term. I would say the biggest thing to make one of these relationship work, and y'all bear with me, I'm just getting started. I haven't even got moving yet. I see people still coming in, so I'm just I'm on idle right now. I haven't got the vehicle moving, but y'all bear with me. We're going to get into this deep, trust me. But the other big hindrance, and this is probably the biggest one, is just pride or stubbornness. And basically the pride causes stubbornness, but just a lack of humility, a lack of being able to say, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't have it right, When I was 27 years old, I had one of those moments where I had to just level with myself and be honest and say, you know what? I don't know. I don't have this. This is the area. This is a section of my life that I need to figure out. Because I was struggling in it at the time, and it led me all the way down this long path to where I am now. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Give me, 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 Yeah. I think okay. I'm sorry about that. I'm not the best with the pronunciation of the names and stuff, but I'll remember that. Um, yeah, shalom, Derek. Good to see you in there. Hey, shalom, Malaya. Good to see you, man. Good to see you tuning in. So, um, so that's one of the biggest areas. But I think anybody watching this series has kind of already arrived at the fact that, hey, I might not have this area understood, and it's very what people need to realize is stuff like this is it's like the more personal, the more universal. You know, a lot of people struggle with this. A lot of people struggle with uh, these relationship issues. You know, and a lot of problems. Like when people call me and I give counsel on them, a lot of problems are the exact same thing, and a lot of people think it's just them, but they don't realize how widespread it is. All right, so with that, we're gonna start getting into some scripture. Let me see. All right, I know. There we go. All right. So the big one of the big things I talk about, and it's very obvious all through the Bible is the male female role. You know, and it's like in today's society, people almost cringe when they hear you know, bring up the roles, the traditional role of a woman. It's like you could almost be if you're at your job and you like mention traditional roles of women, they're ready to damn near bring you up on like sexual harassment charges. You know what I'm saying? Or female discrimination charges or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's how upside down things have been twisted. Let me bring up this one. So one of the verses, and I'm trying to find it. Let me see. Okay, there we go. I got them all. Here we go. So one of the verses that I find myself I have to tell men a lot, and I have to explain to them is, and I'm gonna explain this. Make sure I explain this in a balanced way, so it's not coming off one sided. So it's not looking like I'm leaning towards like male chauvinistic domination or anything like that. But one of the verses says is the man is not made for the woman, but the woman is made for the man, and we're gonna get into the meat of the thing right now. So here we go. So it says the man is not made for the woman, but the woman is made for the man. And what happens in this society is, hey, shalom, Mikael, good to see you in there, man. What happens in this society is a lot of men are brainwashed through society, through a lot of men being raised in female-dominated homes, through media, through all that. They are brainwashed into a mindset of the man is made for the woman. And what happens is men interact with women from that mindset. And what it ends up doing is turning a woman off. Okay? Women are not attracted to men who put them on a pedestal. Okay? Even though everybody, you know, everywhere you look, everything in this society and in this culture tells you to put her on a pedestal and worship her as a what? As a goddess. Okay? And I'm getting ready to back all this up with Bible verse. Okay? Because all right, here we go. And we're gonna it's just all through the book where this isn't so. So here's a verse that backs up what I'm saying, and this is Ecclesiasticus 25:22. Otherwise, and this is one of the verses in the Apocrypha. We got stuff in Proverbs all through the book, but I thought this is a good one to start out with. It says, a woman, if she maintain her husband, is full of anger, impudence, and much reproach. So it's basically saying a woman, if she has to be the leader and the head, and like the husband just ain't equaling up, he's not walking in his role as head, it makes the woman full of anger, impudence, and much reproach. And when you look at what impudence is and what much reproach is, we'll pull the definition up right here. It says the quality of being hold on, I hate when it does that. So there we go. Not showing due respect for another person. Okay? Disrespectful. Okay? And it says, and full of not reproach, but it said much reproach. Okay? And reproach addressed in such a way as to express disapproval or disappointment. So she's very disappointed. And what you find happens in a lot of these relationships is like a lot of the women will tell you, like, a lot of their anger is because they just feel let down. Okay? Much disappointment. So a lot of times in these in relationships, a lot of men like, oh yeah, she just disrespectful, this, that, and the other, and she got a big mouth. They saying all this stuff, but they don't understand what it's stemming from. Okay? And they don't understand their contribution to it. And what is their contribution to it? Not treating them. And you see the way this is going, bouncing back and forth, but not treating the woman like she's made for you. Instead, you're treating the woman like you're made for her. And now, people asking, well, how do you treat a woman like she's made for you? And what we have to be careful of, like when I bring this answer out, is not jumping all the way to the other extreme. The other extreme is something else I deal with. Like a lot of these men, they don't want to become this. They just want to kind of mechanically do it, I guess the word be. But anyway, what they end up doing is jumping to the other extreme of being like this super dominant macho boy dictator. And a woman can see right through that. And what it is, what causes that, the reason men do that is because they don't want to take the time to actually truly change at the foundational level in their spirit and become what this thing is talking about. Because the Bible tells you to love the woman, your wife, as Christ loved the church. It tells you, there's a verse where it says, she's a part of your body. And it's like, if there was a problem with part of your body, you wouldn't just beat it down. You do the necessary things to repair it. Some of them might hurt a little bit, but you do the necessary things to heal that part of your body up. A lot of these men, they read these verses in here of the woman's role and how to deal with them, and they take it to the other extreme, and they don't do this stuff with wisdom in a righteous way. You see what I'm saying? So then somebody like me come along and I read these Bible verses to you, and women are already like, oh, you ain't, you know. So going back, so how do you deal with a woman as if she's made for you? And like I said, we're gonna go very deep into this in a detailed way in the coming parts of this lesson, but to really compress it and to make it basic, because I'm just kind of going over the general idea of what I'm talking about. The way to deal with them, or deal with a woman like she's made for you, not like you're made for her, is as a man, you have to be the leader. You have to be grounded in your identity of who you are. And I'm going to teach on this in detail so you know who you are and what your identity is and how you need to respond to certain situations emotionally and all that. And when you're grounded in that, you're not blown all over the place by her emotionalism or whatever is going on, or by life or by situations. When you can be, like I said again, a leader, where you could direct and guide the family and your wife in the direction she needs to go, and she can safely trust in you, then things begin to function correctly. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Brother Elias said, worship of women and manipulation through lust. And I'm going to hit on that real quick. Is a lot of men, that's why they go to that other extreme, because they don't want to deal with the weaknesses in themselves. One of the things we as men have to get under control is our lust. I'm not saying it's bad. Oh, you shouldn't like, some puss and stuff like that. Nah, that's cool. But it can't get to the point where it's going to make you, because women are trained, a lot of these women out here are trained to manipulate you using that, to get you to worship them by using that, by using the fact that you have a lot of lust on you and stuff. And when you fall for that and they get you that way, they don't have any respect for you. So as men, that's one of the areas that we have to directly confront in ourselves and overcome and get strength in, so that we're not able to be manipulated by that. So that you could go 2 or 3, 4, whatever weeks without anything and stay solid, stay strong, stay grounded. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of men today, because lust and sex is pushed on them from all directions, they're addicted to it. They're addicted to pornography. They're addicted to all this stuff. And the women can see how weak they are. And they can't respect you. And then that Ecclesiasticus comes back into play. A woman, if she maintain her husband, is full of anger, impudence, and much reproach. That they don't have any respect for you because how they can see your weaknesses, how weak you are in certain areas. Okay, and it's in Proverbs 31 verse 3. King Lemuel's mother, she said, "Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings." Okay? Ecclesiasticus 9 verse 2 says, "Give not thy soul unto a woman to set her foot upon thy substance." You know what I'm saying? And then First Esdras, this is in the Apocrypha chapter 4 verse 23 through 27. Now this is heavy, because they really go into it. It says, "Yea, a man taketh his sword, and goeth his way to rob and to steal, to sail upon the sea and upon rivers, and looketh upon a lion, and goeth in the darkness, and when he hath stolen, spoiled, and robbed, he bringeth it to his love. Wherefore a man loveth his wife better than father or mother. Yea, many there be that have run out of their wits for women, and become servants for their sakes. Many also have perished, have erred, and sinned for women. Okay? And I'm gonna balance out what I'm saying. Women will hear me read this and kind of be like, oh, because they know a lot of men are so blockheaded, they're gonna be like, okay, I can't serve women. So boom, now I gotta go to the other extreme and treat her like pure crap. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you gotta become a balanced, righteous, biblical leader as Christ led the church, not a tyrant, dictator, Lord. You go from being an Ahab to being this tyrannical dictator. And that's not what we're talking about. Everything, we're talking about doing this in a balanced way, getting understanding, dealing with these lusts that are in yourself. Because, see, that's what a lot of these dudes do. They're avoiding having to really confront the issues and the weaknesses that are inside themselves. Okay? And so a lot of women will have a knee-jerk response to what I'm saying, because they know that a lot of men are so insensitive. And when I say insensitive, I don't mean you some soft punk running around crying. When I say insensitive, I'm talking about you aren't aware, you're not really focusing on what's going on up in your head, and you're just reactive. And you're not really aware of what you're doing, what you're feeling, the thoughts popping in there and all that, and making that delicate move and understanding the balance of leading, understanding what's really going on with her. Like I said, sometimes, and I went into the first thing, sometimes the woman is disrespectful and angry at you because of, like this verse I read, Ecclesiastes 25:22. Says a woman, if she maintain her husband, is full of anger. So sometimes this is the situation. She just mad because you're not being a real man. You're not leading. She see how weak you are. She knows she attracted you through lust. So she know that's how weak you are. That's a lot of times. That's why they be accusing you of cheating all the time and stuff like that, because they see how weak you are. Sometimes it's not that. Sometimes the woman could be acting a certain way because she's hormonal. Sometimes it's and majority of the times is those two things, or kind of a combination in between of them. So, let me see what y'all saying. I see y'all done put some comments in there. All right, so put EM22 put, I'm a 23-year-old brother who's been seeing a young lady for about 5 months. We agreed to take things slow, but she recently been talking to this old friend. How do I address that? Anyone can answer? Okay. So yeah, we'll address that. Again, and that's fine. We might get off topic a little bit, but that's cool. That's what I'm here for, is these types of questions. Okay? And this goes back to putting the woman on a pedestal, and I'm gonna show you how. If she's talking to an old friend, I don't believe in any friends or exes of the opposite sex lurking around in the background or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Just like me and Coy, we're married. I don't believe in having female friends of the opposite sex. Like I don't believe in having female friends. My wife is my friend. I don't need, and anything I want to talk to a woman about, I have my wife. Outside of that, I really don't want to be around women talking about nothing else, anything outside what I would talk to my wife about, because I'm a dude. I'd rather be around dudes talking about guns, cars, and dude stuff. Same thing with a woman, Corey likes talking about whatever she talked to a man about, but she liked talking with her female friends about whatever she talked. So anyway, and it also tells you, there's a verse in there in Ecclesiasticus or Sirach. It says, and I'm not quoting it word for word, but it basically says, don't sit down with another man's wife or with another woman, and vice versa, because things are going to happen. So going back to and I was trying to break down biblically, but now let's put it 100. Leave her alone. I wouldn't even tell her. I'd be like, nah, I'm good. I'll let her know, hey, you should just chill with your dude, but I'm going to keep it moving. Because, especially at that age, and women at that age, it's going to be a mess. And she just telling you that almost 90% accuracy, she probably sleeping with the dude. But the rule is no people of the opposite sex lurking around in the background. That to make it real simple. Okay? But what happens is we get clouded by our emotions so hard. You're probably over there like, well, they probably were, studying, about math Friday night at to 1 a.m. That's probably why he went over there. I believe her, and your emotions will cloud things like that. But when you, and like I said, I'm going to be teaching deep on this. When you understand what attraction is, how attraction works, and like I said, we're going to get into all that in coming lessons. But when you understand what it is and how it works, when a woman's into you, when you're being a biblically masculine man, a leader, an assertive leader, she ain't going to be dealing with no other dudes. Okay, let me rephrase that, say it again a different way. When you being a real man and you're being a biblically masculine man and she's an emotionally healthy woman, she ain't going to be dealing with no other dudes. She wouldn't even want to put that out there. Okay, she wouldn't even want you to, she'd be so into you, she wouldn't even be thinking about no other dudes. Okay? So, you understand that. Let me know if I answered your question, because I want to make sure I answered all the way. So, Zion says she could possibly still have some emotions still tied to him. Don't allow yourself to be available to her while she's seeing this old friend. Yep. Old friend. Old friend, they try to word it old friend. And I don't want to get derogatory or whatever on my show, but I got a term for it that more accurately describes it. I'll just put it like that. Sound like old friend. Oh yeah, we used to play with toys together, Yeah, I used to play with toys, all right. Anyone can answer, okay. So yeah, I'd leave her alone, period. Cut it off. But that's why, and like I said, we're going to get into this a little further, because when but this the one thing I'll tell you. When you're single and you're trying to meet a woman, or you're a man trying to meet a woman, or a woman trying to meet a man, you got to be very efficient with evaluating people, otherwise known as discerning the spirits and all that. You got to be efficient with your time. You don't got time to be, you said 5 months. You can't do that. You got to disqualify people quick. You got to be looking for the first red flag. And if the red flag's too big, cut them off. Because what happens is, when you're too slow and you don't have the proper biblical understanding, spiritual understanding to discern their spirit and to disqualify them quickly, what happens, your emotions begin to get attached to them, and it begins to cloud your judgment, and you can't see clearly. And then you end up 5 months done pass, and you're with the wrong person, and then they say, hey, I got an old friend, and we hang out, on weekends. He spends the night over from time to time because he's an old friend. That's all. And they throw some crap like that out. But in reality, there were big warning signs way in the beginning, but you haven't been trained, or not trained, but just taught on what to look for. Okay? But there's signs. And you got to see them quick. You can't see a woman start playing a Disney World fantasy in your mind and then get caught up in that. And then 5 months down the road, now you got to rip your heart off this thing, and you walk around feeling down for a couple of days because you got to cut this thing off, or a couple of weeks. Okay? Okay, so I hope that answered your question there. Let me see. You are literally describing me. I'm willing to learn what I have to do to get better. Well, you are in the right spot. Yeah, so just subscribe to the channel. Check out, like I said, this series is going to go on, and we're going to be talking about this stuff. And just subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, and look at some of my past videos if you don't want to wait for the series to finish out, because I've covered all this stuff before. And if you have any questions, you could just email me on that email address that's right there on the screen. So you could just do that, and I'll definitely, because I understand, I mean, that's how I was. I was that way for 27 years until I embarked on this journey to figure all this stuff out. So I understand. Okay, so let's continue on. Oh, no, I'm interested. She put, yeah, only thing right now is y'all are approving, but just set them boundaries of that's not respectable to be talking with male friends or to even have them. She needs to build relationships with sisters. Okay, but this is my thing. People know better. And what this brother needs to be doing, because I understand what the sister's saying, but what you need to understand is what she wants to do. Like, when women are into you, they make it easy. Like when a woman's madly obsessed with you, she ain't talking to nobody else. She ain't even gonna do nothing to remotely have you thinking that she messing around or got other people or whatever. In fact, she gonna go above and beyond to make sure you understand that, she gonna put the best foot forward. But when her attraction is dropping off and she getting ready to move on, it's everything else. Okay? So my whole thing is, it says you will know them by their fruits. Just sit back and watch the fruits. So she talking to another dude, calling him a friend, because I don't listen to what's being said. I watch what's going down. Hey, you hanging out with another dude. But yeah, you right. That shouldn't even be something she even think is okay. Yeah. You know, but the thing, and not really think, but that's what she's feeling. You see what I'm saying? So that what I'm telling this brother is, especially if this woman ain't grounded in the truth, she's showing you what she's feeling through her actions. So discern the spirit. She's showing you, so now you understand how she's communicating to you. If you listen to this, you're going to be confused. But if you use this, it's going to be very clear and simple. So now you know. All right, good. All right, so somebody, sorry, but Precious says hi as she screams. Oh, the life of Shalom, Precious. I'm glad you're watching. Shalom. What's going on, Byron? I'll be down there eventually. We'll be back down there. But shalom, Precious. I'm glad you're watching the Michael Israel show. That's funny. All right. So yeah, and we're gonna get into the qualities that women are attracted to and stuff that turns them off, because just as much as putting them on a pedestal will turn them off, putting yourself on a pedestal and putting a pedestal on top of them, like some of these certain camps out there, like they do to women. And it's not just the camps, certain Israelite groups and I would even say just certain people out in the Israelite movement, they do that. That's how they operate. You do that, it's just as big of a turnoff, where you just being a super macho boy, it's just as bad. It's bad. It's not quite as bad as being a super simp and putting them on pedestal stuff. So yeah, the sister was just asking, how did you meet her? And that's another big thing. That's another big thing I talk to my single brothers and sisters about is a lot of them don't understand how to meet a woman in the truth. And just real fast for anybody, and this goes for men and women alike. The first thing you need to do is get yourself right, build your character up, get your mind right, get your mind biblically aligned, work through a lot of these weaknesses. You got a lot of the men struggling with lust and things have happened to them, molestation for women, men and women alike. You got to work through the results of that. I got a ton of videos on that. But as men, you have to work through those weaknesses. As women, you have to work through all that stuff also. A lot of women have been raped and molested. So they're wrestling with that. A lot of women have had abortions, and they have to wrestle with that guilt and repent of it so that they can let go of that resentment and all those twisted emotions that come with that. And everything in between. So you got to work through your issues. And once you work through all those issues, now you're in a better position to be able to develop character or charisma to where you can comfortably talk to people and be hospitable in your conversation and in your interaction with people. And then once you're there, and this doesn't take forever. This isn't, if you attack this thing, if you really want to be in a fruitful relationship, because a lot of people say, oh, I'm lonely and I want to be in a relationship. But most of them are just lying to themselves because they don't want to do the work to get in a relationship. They really don't. But if you really do, you do the work. It don't take long. It can take as little as a month. Do the work. And then in order to meet somebody, you just need to go to one of these events where like-minded people are at. Like events like the ones I go to from time to time. Go to these events, deal fellowship with the people, and do it up. Okay? So yeah. All right, real talk. Chris Rock said it. Men don't have women friends, just women that haven't hit yet. Exactly. Oh man, Israel and Doran, brother, just had a long study to uplift my spirit. That's good. That's good. It also depends on how long they've been in this walk. As a man, you gotta know yourself in this walk. Yeah, but the thing is, I'm gonna tell you what's going on out there is ain't nobody teaching no truth, really. Like the elephant in the room is a lot of men are wrestling with lust and insecurities and being introverts and wrestling with fear and personality issues. They don't really have charisma and social skills. Those are the elephants in the room for men. Same thing for women. A lot of women are wrestling with bitterness, unforgiveness. They've been dogged out and done wrong by men, and they can't figure out what they're doing that's causing that or why it keeps happening and all that. So they turn inwards and become cold and all that. And those are the elephants in the room. And that's the stuff that's not getting dealt with. Everybody want to push all this other crap. So now you got a monster that could quote scriptures. You know? So that's why in the Hebrew Israelite community, I don't get caught up in what people know or what, all that stuff like that. I don't get caught up in your academics and all. I know this, I know that. I got all this understanding and this, that, and the other. I don't get caught up in all that. I look at their characters because I've come across so many people who are just spiritually broken and they're just trying to mask it with scripture memorization. Nothing more. And you just watch them wrestle and get destroyed out here. But they could outquote me on the scripture. And they'll call me out for like, oh, he ain't studied. Like I ain't got the Bible memorized nearly as well as most of these people, but I got it understood and internalized and applied in my life. Okay, so all right. We not tending to ourselves. We just doctrine banging. That's right. We ain't doing like what you doing with helping build yourself. Yeah, they doctrine banging. That's a good term for it. They doctrine banging. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. Hold on one sec. Church we used. Okay. So y'all talking to each other. And like I said, let me show y'all this real quick. Now that's weird. Hold on one sec, y'all. Here we go. Okay. I'm gonna just let y'all. I did a show the other day, but if y'all are isolated and everything, and you don't think there's any Hebrews around you or anything like that, I made a Hebrew directory, the brewlink.com. It's a directory for businesses and everything. And one of the categories I put on it was Hebrews near you. And all you got to do is scroll down to this category here, and people are registered, in it, of where they're from. Be careful. Be careful who you're reaching out to and all that stuff. But these are Hebrews near you. A lot of people have been registering on it. I was very impressed. But it's one of the ways, once you've developed yourself, you can begin to reach out. And then I also got ministries and communities. So ministries in your area, you know, so, and they've been listing their ministries. You know, this one's in South Jersey, Philly. You know, you got ministries all over the place. So you could go on over there so you could begin to connect. So you're not dealing with worldly people, with worldly women, with women who aren't, or men who aren't really doing that work on themselves. So, and I've been working on it. It's a work in progress. Yep, I do that at Antoinette. I do premarital counseling and all that stuff like that, or counseling for situations. Most of the time, it's pre-divorce counseling, you know, and I'm trying to save people's stuff because it's so crazy, you know. But yeah, I do that. I got that email address up there, so. Yep. So the sister Tammy, she put, yes, we must clean out our vessels and use those scriptures to heal ourselves. That's right. Hey, Shalom, Yehukanah. Good to see you in there. Hey, man, you need to get Rhema Word registered on here, on the Brew Link, man. You need to get on there. It's blowing, man. Get your clothing on there for it's too late. I've been telling you. But anyway, yeah, that's my man Yehukanah. He's he one of the ox on my team, man. We are on the team. All right, so yeah, yeah, that's it, Internet. Yep, that's it. Yeah, and you know, because this is something I tell people. It was like, man, like with me when I was like 27, I was doing all this work. I was developing myself. I was doing this stuff I said. I was developing my character. I was looking at things I was struggling with, because I struggle with pornography and alcoholism, and I you know, and just dealing with all this stuff and thinking I did all this work and grown, and then I got married, and it's a whole nother level of growth. Okay. And, you know, when I got married, I thought I was good. And then I saw all these other issues I had in myself. And even now at 42, I still got a lot of stuff I'm working through, because marriage it's like refining gold. It burns the impurities off you. And so it's a hotter fire to burn those impurities off you. But you got a lot of men and women alike who are weak, and they can't deal with it. They got a lot of pride and stuff like that, and they really don't want to change. And what you're going to find as I go through this series is it's not complicated. This thing is not complicated. The thing that's confusing and complicated is the excuses and stuff that people make, and the excuses and stuff that people have taught out there to make you comfortable and to accommodate you. You know what I'm saying? That is what is confusing, you know, but the truth is pretty straightforward. But yeah, you know. But anyway, y'all, with that said, I'm going to wrap this part 1 of this series up. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Definitely tune in. I'll be doing part 2 on here. And I got a couple series going on. I'm also going through Proverbs. So that's another, I think we did chapter 1, 2, and 3 already. So we're just going to be working this thing as we move forward. You know, growing, doing what Christ said, what the Mashiach said. He said, first clean the inside of the cup, then clean the outside. Okay? So that's what we're doing. But anyway, with that said, I appreciate y'all coming on here. Definitely, if you haven't already, go over to the Brew link and sign up. If you're a business, if you're just an individual and you're wanting to know what's going on, just go ahead, sign up. It's totally free. And it's a good way to just get out there and know what's out there in the Hebrew Israelite community. Anyway, with that said, I'm Michael Israel. You are watching Spiritual Combat. Make sure you tune in. If this video was good, like it. If you're on YouTube, definitely hit the like button. Definitely subscribe. Hit the notification bell. If you're over there on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, and you like the video, and definitely share it. I appreciate when y'all do that. And anyway, with that said, I am Michael Israel. You're watching Spiritual Combat. And shalom, y'all.
We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. It's time to get into formation. We gotta get ready for the battle. So call on your brothers and
It's the Brew link. The Brew link. TheBrewLink.com.
Don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed, cause nobody's perfect. We're called by his name. We're called by his name. Seek him to be worthy. We should be coming together. There's power in unity. It's time to come into the order, cause we are a living prophecy. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat. It's a spiritual combat.